Hello. Recently I replayed Cyberpunk. I had to stop and take a second look at the Misty part to the end of the game, where she is reading V his fortune. I found interesting that some cards can really predict the outcome of V's story. And I was wondering, how is that happening? And because I need a bit of whimsy and mystery in my life, I said fuck it. And I started learning tarot. Welcome to a Normie's Guide to Tarot. To learn to read the cards, we have to go all the way back to the beginning. You'd think that this mystical art of prediction and fortune telling would go back thousands of years, where Egyptians learned the ways of the stars and imbued symbols with power hidden from us that could only be found in the universe, only activated by the most accomplished and attuned individuals. One wrong move or one wrong intuition of the cards and your destiny gets forever changed. Except that is bullshit. Tarot or tarocchi, taroncini, I don't know, was a fucking card game from northern Italy in the 15th century, played mostly by wealthy families of the time. The cards were handcrafted, painted, and extremely expensive due to the intricate art, full of symbols and meaningful expressive art styles, as was all art during the Renaissance. For this video, we don't need to know how to play tarocchini, but the cards matter. As is now, card decks were made of 4 suits with numbered cards and court cards, which are called minor arcana in tarot, and some special trump cards named Major Arcana. These were not magic or used to predict outcomes in life. They were status symbols, game pieces, and for added fun, moral and philosophical themes of the time. Fun fact, the card decks we have today that we use for poker, blackjack, and whatnot come directly from tarot. The minor arcana changed types and structure, becoming the playing card deck we now know and use to gamble our houses away. Tarot became mystic and occult from the 1700s. During the Enlightenment period in France, people believed Egypt held ancient secrets and wisdom, and symbols held power. Naturally, people started to believe that tarot decks held power that came from ancient Egypt, traveling the world, and eventually coming to Europe through gypsies and their occult ways of fortune telling. At least that is one documented way. There are several others, but this one was the most interesting and the one I found more research on. People linked tarot to astrology, alchemy, symbolism, and all the grand ideas of the time that came with the period and influence of prior research that was getting rediscovered. This is also the time people brought order to these symbols, providing baselines and guides for interpretation. This way, anybody can learn to read fates with practice. As we advanced as a species, so did tarot. It advanced with us quite literally. We started drawing symbolic pictures for the cards, crafting stories with them, and making them more easy to interpret. This was, in part, due to the humanitarian sciences like psychology, philosophy, and the rising self-help craze, which was actually rising way before today, like 100 years ago. It was really starting to pop off as a phenomenon. That was the time we started to use perspective and reflection to read tarot and see causes, outcomes. Carl fucking Jung saw in them archetypal symbols. Symbols that describe shit, giving an image into the collective unconscious. It became what we have today, visually stunning collectibles that can help express our thoughts and emotions when words fail. And today, words seem to fail more often than they don't, which is why I think we assign meaning to everything, like we do with tarot. If anything, it helps us cope with and understand all the thoughts we all share. Well, anyway, let's learn to read these damn things. So, what do all these cards mean, really? How can we actually read them? Let's get them step by step. Firstly, the minor arcana, the bulk of the deck, the most cards that are in the deck, are the prototype for the playing cards we have today. Like I said, we have 4 suites of cards: the wands, the cups, the swords, and the pentacles. Each suite is split into 14 cards. The ace, cards 2 through 10, the page, the knight, the queen, and finally the king. This should look really familiar to all of us, aside from the page and the knight, which were combined later on and became our modern jack. Like anything in life, tarot follows a cycle, beginning to end and beginning yet again. so it's a big circle. Ace is beginning, 2 is choice, 3 is growth, 4 is stability, 5 is conflict, 6 is harmony, 7 is challenge, 8 is movement, 9 is the last leg or the last part of any story, and 10 is the end. Overseeing this cycle are the court cards. The page means curiosity and perspective. The knight is action and intensity. The queen is understanding and internal mastery of emotions and mentality. And the king is, of course, responsibility, leadership, and authority. The suites are different broad aspects we all share. The wands may show energy, action, desire. They commonly answer questions such as, what am I motivated to do? The cups show emotion, connection, intuition. They answer, how do I feel about this? The swords are, paradoxically, thought, communication, and conflict. They answer, how am I thinking about this? And the pentacles are material life, physical world, body, money, health, routines. How does this manifest into reality? If you studied probability and statistics, you'll see that there are many ways to read cards, but with clear guidelines and concepts, you can create a story. Let's take, for example, 5 of Cups. This may mean emotional conflict, while 5 of Swords will mean mental conflict. We take 5, which is conflict, and then we attribute the meaning via the suit. So we have the Swords and the Cups, each meaning something different. So any read that you do may have different story or a different arc or a different detail. That's why knowing things matter. Anyway, the second part of this bullshit is the major arcana, the most beautiful and misunderstood cards of the deck. Like in the Lion King, the circle of life is incredibly important in tarot, especially in these cards. There are 22 cards that represent universal experiences we all share or will share at least once in our lifetimes. It is, in the briefest of brief descriptions, the full human arc. These cards on the screen represent the way we learn to exist as an individual. These ones represent the midpoint, where we are tested, challenged, and where we overcome our crises and show our power in this world. The last cards show the meanings we got on our journey, our moral standing, our responsibilities, and who we are or become. I will get into each card and what each means, but I really do not want to make this video 30 minutes long, so I highly encourage you to search them up. They are great windows into moments of our lives. In the very least, they are incredibly beautiful to look at. But anyway, it is a circle because life does not end when a journey ends. If the world means completion, integration, and wholeness, this just brings on a new chapter or a new journey. This cycle can be something simple or on the nose, like finishing high school and going to college, or something more nuanced, like the arc you have within a company or a role and the transition to another one or another arc. Each card feeds into the next at an infinite rate. So it's really important to know the position of the card in this cycle and what it means. A lot of things you have to keep in mind when reading them, otherwise the story you are reading may not really work. I'm getting bored. We won't learn anything if we just read. So let's practice. Before getting into technique, every reading session has 4 elements: the question, context, cards, and interpretation. None can work without the other. A good tarot question explores a situation without locking it to a single outcome. If a fucking monkey can produce more profit on the stock market than the top-level predictive algorithm worth millions of dollars, then for sure reading tarot will not tell you on what date you will get rich. Instead of asking some dumb shit like, will I get $1 million this year in March? Try asking yourself this: will I soon be in a position where I will accumulate wealth far beyond what I currently possess? Beyond it sounding more cool and nonchalant and mystical, it has a more deep psychological reason. It opens your mind to possibilities, interpretation, and understanding of the whole process you ask of, removing certain agency and free will from questions, just as in people, always backfires. Tarot informs choice making and thought framing. It will never replace this. There is a perk of being human, having freedom and perspective. If you ask what I suggested earlier, you may get an answer. Maybe you won't be wealthy in money, but you will have wealth in love or wealth in food. You will never have to fret about food. So try to be open with your questions whenever possible. Anyway, next we need a way to place cards that make sense. For this we have spreads. There are a lot of ways we can draw cards, place them, and interpret meaning. It can differ from tradition, personality, type of question, personal preference, and everyone can modify any aspect to suit their reading needs. In short, don't worry about it. Do some reading, go to Reddit, tarot forums, see what other people ask themselves and how they do it. You can always learn from others. I made myself some cheat sheets that help me learn that cards and describe some spreads I find most suitable for me. Okay, so let's set the mood. Let's light a candle and let's light the stick that smells good. That stuff right there. That shit is gold. The deck. One for the minor arcana and all the suits, one for the major arcana, and one for the spreads. I have a lot of spreads, but we are going to focus on the first three. Pause if you wanna see them. What we're going to do is shuffle the cards really well. And we are going to shuffle the cards while telling our question because it is important to be connected to the question. The one card spread is pretty simple. It focuses on clarity, grounding, and daily guidance and affirmations. It represents a core message that you want to receive or you want to clarify. And I have the perfect question because lately I've been feeling a bit disassociative. I was just not myself, and I don't know why, and I want to understand that better. So my question is, what underlying energy or influence is contributing to my recent sense of emotional distance? I received the moon, which means uncertainty, fearfulness, anxiety, hesitation, and confusion. What I can say is that I am uncertain and I have a bit of anxiety because I'm not sure about my future and I'm not sure about my place in the world yet. I haven't discovered what I need to do. And I am pushing myself in so many directions, like following passions or having hobbies, having work, managing relationships, and everything feels harder and harder. And this just makes me not want to live in the present anymore. I feel confused and I feel hesitant, which is something that I know I have to work on, but I never really quite put it into words. The next spread is the two-card spread, where we are going to show contrast, tension, and comparison between two forces. Each card represents a force, so it's a dual question, a comparison between two things that happen in your life. I wanted to focus on specific aspects of my life where I felt a bit disassociative and I felt a bit uncomfortable talking about. And I have a disagreement. I want to lose weight and be healthy, but I also enjoy sitting, playing games, and eating garbage. And I wanted to ask myself, how does my desire for health express itself in my life? And how does my desire for comfort and pleasure express itself? The first card that I got was Justice, which represents accountability, moral clarity, and owning consequences, but can also mean denial. And the Ace of Pentacles for the Force B, which means potential for anything that is in the physical realm, so money, health, body. I just got into a comfortable place with my salary and my job, not only money-wise, but also just as a standing in the company I work at, and I feel relatively satisfied, really quite feel strongly that I am lucky. I have more than most, which is a privilege. My desire for comfort is at a beginning. It has a potential to bloom into something more. I can maybe leverage my position of comfort into something more that can make me even more comfortable. That can mean money-wise, body-wise. Maybe I can use this state of comfort to improve my body in some way. While the Justice card represents accountability and moral clarity. Like I said, I know I am accountable for my own health. I know what I have to do. I am clear about what I have to do, but I'm also sometimes in denial because sometimes I have the excuses that everybody has. I worked enough, I will eat some garbage, I will play a bit longer, I will not work on my hobbies or my passions, I will not read that book, and I'll just sit and vegetate. I may have a problem owning consequences and being my moral judge because I give myself a lot of leeway, but I need to combine those two forces, the fact that I know I am accountable for my actions and the potential to leverage my comfort for my own benefit, to improve my health. And so I am my own master when it comes to my health, and nobody else is. No matter the external factors, I can always choose to make something out of myself. The 3-card split references a process, a movement, a story. So it's a 3-step process. Like any story, you have the beginning, the middle, and the end. And you can split it however you want, depending on the context. So your question may be about the past, the present, and the future, or a situation, an action, or an outcome, or the mind, the heart, and the behavior, depending on what you want to lock in. For this, I have the perfect question for myself. I try to reason that I need to focus on my career, but deep down, I really admire people and YouTubers specifically that made it or are trying to make it and have success doing it. They made it by following their passions, and I'm aware of that. But my question is, how can I bring my thinking, so my mind, my emotional truth, and my current life structure into better alignment around passion and career? The first card, the Ace of Pentacles, and it represents potential. So me thinking about following my passions brings the potential to actually do it and my passions to become reality. And that is something that I admit. But the moon, like previously established, makes me uncertain. I am in a stable place in my life. I know it will not be stable forever, but doing something to destabilize my life makes me uncertain, fearful. For once, I am not a person that overthinks. I'm a person that feels too strongly and is too fearful of owning my actions and doing what I want to follow my thoughts and my reasoning and my passion. My structure, my life currently represents inner knowing, intuition, inner awareness, observation, and inner information. I know what I have to do within myself. My current life makes me look inward and see the potential I have in myself, and I am the only one aware of that. If I can temper my heart and listen to my mind and just give way to my passion and not be so afraid of what I can achieve or what I can destabilize in my life, I can have a lot of rewards. I know this is the right way, but my heart is blocking me, and I feel like my heart always wins, and I'm suppressing myself, and I always tell myself that I am not good enough. And this is not only here, this is in everything I do, but it's a reality I have to face. This is genuinely all you need to know to start reading tarot. I really hope I got you curious to try something new and out there. This is certainly something really out and about. No matter your belief, everybody needs a way of expressing themselves, and this may be a good way for you. I will link some resources that I found very useful and interesting down below. No matter your belief, whether you dive into the occult and give in to mysticism, or you are an atheist, slave to analysis and debate, listening, understanding, and loving yourself is something everybody needs these days. I find it to be of the utmost importance. I really hope this video sparks your curiosity and makes you try something new, or makes you think. We all deserve to understand oneself. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you with my next obsession. Hopefully soon. I don't know when that will be. I love you. Bye.